Tell me a little bit about the brand of the Busy Beaver Button Company. Who are your clients? How are you different from the competition? And what value do you offer?
Yeah, I think friendly is like one of the big kind of pillars of like what people appreciate about us. We do care very much about like how these items represent people when they're passing them out or selling them. So making sure they're like is really important and giving people good service. We do have white glove service, which is unusual for a company that manufactures custom products. So you can call us, we'll answer the phone. There's a lot of human to human contact that's available.
Welcome to the Turbo Branding Show, where we help you ignite your growth by leveraging your brand to grow faster, easier, and more successfully. You'll discover insightful conversations from our powerful guests, founders, CEOs, and advisors for thriving businesses who are sharing how they have successfully built strong brands, all to help you expand and grow. I'm your host, Sue Kirschner, and today we're welcoming Christen Carter to the show. So let's delve into this episode and turbocharge your brand. First, thank you so much for being here, Christen. I'm excited to talk with you about how you've built such a fun brand, a thriving business that makes an impact, and even a museum. So welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is
Yeah, no,
great. I'm
no
excited to talk to
problem.
you about this stuff.
Yeah. So let me just kick everything off and get started by introducing Christen. So Christen Carter is the president and owner of Busy Beaver Button Company. She's the curator of the Button Museum and the co-author of The Button Power: 125 Years of Saying It with Buttons. She started the Busy Beaver Button Company in 1995 as a DIY punk rock business, selling custom buttons as a way for bands to spread the word and connect with people. And now, almost 30 years later, Busy Beaver has expanded to stickers and other small shareable custom products, still with the ethos to help organizations and individuals promote their organization, share ideas, and build community. So welcome. Did I miss anything that you would want to add?
No, that's great. Yeah, I love it. You made it real quick and succinct. I appreciate it.
All right. So let's dig in and talk about how you built your business and brand to date, because I really admire your company. So let's kick it off. Tell me a little bit about the brand of the Busy Beaver Button Company. Who are your clients? How are you different from the competition? And what value do you offer?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, our brand, I mean, I think friendly is like one of the big kind of pillars of like what people appreciate about us. But, and you're not supposed to say quality, but we, necessarily as a leader, but we do care very much about like how these items represent people when they're passing them out or selling them. So making sure they're like is really important and giving people good service. So we kind of have, I mean, we do have white glove service, which is unusual for a company that manufactures custom products. So you can call us, we'll answer the phone. There's a lot of human to human contact that's available, you know. So
Yeah. No, I know on your website, one of your key brand messages is service from a friend, right? So it's that
yeah,
whole friendly, we're here for you. I love all that. So who are
yeah.
your target customers? I know anyone who comes onto your site can buy from you, but who really do you feel you have a niche serving?
Yeah, it really can vary depending on seasons and because buttons are just a blank canvas. They're just a thing that you can put something on and stickers. So, we do a lot of universities, a lot of nonprofits. That's big for us. Still do a lot of music and bands and stuff like that and artists in general.
Mhm.
Those are some of our bigger groups, and we do political stuff as well. So every 2 to 4 years, it gets busy in that regard.
Nice.
But those are our big ones. We have lots of other ones that are like really happy when we get them, like camps, or, it's like that's one of the joys of having this business is that, we're kind of a hub for people up to stuff and wanting to spread a message. So we get to see if, all angles and like what people are up to in general. So a lot of corporate stuff too, like WordPress and that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, like building on what you just said, when I first, met you and learned about the company and everything, you don't think about buttons necessarily, but they're so impactful in the way that you can share ideas, build community, basically almost create a transformation in something, whether it's behavior or a thought process and things like that. So I love when you're saying it's a blank canvas because it absolutely is. So,
Yeah.
um, and
And
that's cool.
I often liken them to like the difference between like, because they're small spaces where you have to like make a message real quick.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of liken them to like social media, like a tweet or something, but it's like it's not anonymous like a tweet, and it's like literally something you have to stand behind, So it takes like, some thought to put into it. And I think therefore it means it's, and people are physically wearing them. So it means a lot more in the person to person connection, and can change minds
Right.
easy.
No, exactly. Yes, I wore my buttons today, and yeah.
Nice. Which
So
ones do you have on?
I've got Kramer from Seinfeld. I've had this
Great.
button since college, I believe. Then I had a button that you gave me, which is beautiful, but too small to see. And then I've got another one that's kind of a self-expression from an artist that I love. So
Oh, cool.
I think it says, I'm not here to judge you, but I'm so good at it. So
That's great.
exactly. So awesome. So, um, you know, why is branding so important for your business? So you've taken the time to build the brand, and you've got a really cute logo with the beaver, and everything about your site is kind of screams fun and friendly. But why do you think it's so important that you need to spend time on branding?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at the beginning, word of mouth was huge for us. Like that was probably one of the biggest things for us for the first like 10 years of Busy Beaver. But so I think that kind of like people feeling like they're invested or part of the company in a way. So I think that with the branding, that kind of friendliness and like openness that lets people feel like it's something that they connect with, and it's like, it doesn't feel like cold or sterile, hopefully. And it feels like, oh, we're friends, or, we're like business friends and we care that you do well. So it's like, we're going to be friendly and support you in this. So it's like, I mean, the idea of our brand is that it's approachable and, you know, you'll feel good when you're working with us because we'll support you and make you look good. So
Excellent. Now, I got introduced to you and started working with you a number of years ago, but obviously you've been in business almost 30 years, which is absolutely amazing. But why did you, at that time, when you reached out to me to say, hey, we need to work on our brand, what were the challenges that you were facing, or what triggered you to say, okay, now we need to do something?
yeah, I mean, we didn't have at that time, it was, early pandemic, and or maybe not super early, but in the first year or two.
Okay.
And our person who was in charge of sales and marketing had left, moved away. So it was kind of up to me at that moment, to figure out what we were doing. And I was over my head, honestly, because there are things with sales and marketing that are really intuitive to me and that I can do, but I can't like doing. One of the things I learned from you is like doing things in more of a holistic, intentional way. So it's not like I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's like this is the plan. And then it gave the team, because I was still a team there, even though there wasn't like a manager per se, I gave the team something to work with. So they were able to write emails, like marketing emails or their own emails, or just kind of generally know where we're heading. So I think that was one of the reasons why I engaged with you, and also to kind of help set up some sort of system. So
Exactly. So when I was working with you, one of the things that I did, which I do with all of my clients, is to go out and talk to your VIP customers, right? Because what we're trying to do is figure out why they enjoy working with you. What are the characteristics or the needs of those particular segments so that you can find more people like them and hear from them in their own words why they value working with you. So the question I had for you was, did anything surprise you when we came back with the research and said, hey, this is what the customers said. This is what they love about Busy Beaver Button Company. Anything that was like, wow, I would never have thought that.
well, I mean, I think it was great to hear. It was like great to hear, and not and surprising that customers were like, we love ordering, we love working with you guys, and we love ordering from you. And if you did more than just buttons, we would order everything. We would love to order everything from you. And we were like, okay, this is good. This is good because, having systems and making it easy on people is like important. And then also having that kind of like friendly helpfulness is people seem to respond to. And then on the other side, we were surprised that people didn't necessarily care as much that we were, solar powered, kind of the eco stuff and or woman owned. It wasn't like necessarily, and I get it, it's not necessarily a big driver, but it was like a nice to have, might put it over the edge kind of thing.
No, it was something that I think makes you unique, obviously being women owned and your commitment to sustainability. But yeah, it was interesting that the customers said, we love that, but that's not the main reason why we work with you.
Yeah.
So that was kind of eye-opening because it created kind of a shift in your messaging, I think. So,
It did. It put that stuff down lower in the priorities of what to talk about.
right, right. Excellent. So quick question for you. And this is something maybe some other business owners would find interesting. When you decided you did need to start working on your brand, and I think at the time too, you were trying to enter into some new markets and you just really wanted to kind of get a hold of, what is our messaging? What should we be saying? But how did you find me, or how did you know what to look for? Just in case other business owners are also thinking about that.
Yeah, I found you from word of mouth. My friend Bridget had met you, and you were part of a group that she was like, everyone in this group is great. So yeah, that's how I met you. And then as far as why we decide, like why I decided to start working with you goes is, I don't know, it just felt like you're really like you got the concepts that I wasn't getting, and you were listening, and you have like thinking in a marketing way is in kind of a more measured strategic way is
Mhm.
something that I don't necessarily think that way. So when you were asking questions and like talking about actions, I was like, that's what we need. So that was, yeah, really helpful in making the decision, which I'm glad we did. So
Yeah, yeah. So after you worked on, or after we together worked on that brand strategy and we presented it to your sales and marketing team and things like that, what changed, or what were the results, or what were you most satisfied with in terms of, well, we invested in this and I'm glad we did.
yeah, I think everyone printed out your at a glance, the branding at a glance, and put it on their desk, like so they could see it. So they would refer to it day after day. And I think also just knowing what people like about us, or, what customers value about us was really important because, coming from the ins, being in the inside, it's just like, I don't know, we're just doing the best we can, but in putting it into words and ways that we can reach new customers with that and double down and like, oh, this is what people like. Let's put more resources into that. And, part of the reason too why we were wanting to engage with you was we're expanding our product line into stickers more. We had been offering stickers, but it was still early on and it wasn't quite, we're Busy Beaver Button Company. We weren't quite sure how to put stickers in there, so
Right.
I think it worked. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
working.
No, I think it worked. Adding stickers to your product line was actually, it was interesting. And we talked a lot too about product bundles, right? So we
Yeah.
talked a little bit, even ideated about for nonprofit organizations who, use buttons a lot for events they do and things like that, but they're also targeting donors a lot, or they're targeting volunteers and things like that. And stickers are an awesome communication form to send in an envelope to someone as kind of like a little cute giveaway, or something
Yeah.
to get people to really promote the cause and things like that. So it
Yeah.
absolutely made sense. So after working on the branding engagement, and I worked with your team for a little while, you decided that you wanted to bring someone in-house. You wanted to bring a new sales and marketing manager. How did you decide that was the right time to do that? And also, how did you find the right fit? Because you have a very unique culture. So how did you do all that? How did you bring it in-house?
Well, I knew that I wanted to bring it in-house, but I also knew that I needed to have a little more experience with what I expect from sales and marketing. And while we've had great people in that position before, we've never had like a person who's done a lot of sales and marketing, has a degree or, equivalent experience. And it gave me like more of an idea of like what I was looking for. and specifically in like understanding measurements and timelines and that kind of thing and like how things work together.
Mhm.
So I kind of always knew that I wanted to have somebody come into that position, but with the pandemic, it hurt us financially. So it was part of it was waiting until we found the right time, for money and then also the right person. So we had a couple of like hires that weren't quite the right hires for us, but now we have a really great person. So
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
with a ton of marketing experience and sales and worked with HubSpot, which we use. And so it's been,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of HubSpot, and then I'll come back to the team in a second, but speaking of HubSpot, one of the things when we started working together, you were very focused on collecting data. That was something that you absolutely wanted to do. So what drove that need to, get a platform like HubSpot with the CRM and the marketing and all that? I guess my question is, what were you hoping to measure or what were you hoping to learn from that emphasis on the data?
Yeah, I think like a lot of like who is our target market? Who are the people who are already ordering from us? How do they respond with the different ways that we engage with them? And how much money each and what products each market is spending and the seasonality of them. And so that was a lot of why I wanted to get HubSpot measurable, like creating these measurables for us because we were doing email marketing. We weren't sure what was working. And then also with HubSpot, like being able to do those email newsletters and the sequences for the sales team. And there was like the software was actually made things a lot more simple, like for us.
Mhm.
So yeah, that it was good to have everything measurable. And it was also the activities, like putting things into campaigns so that we can measure the different efforts and how they're going.
Yeah.
So.
Excellent. Excellent. So after, post COVID, you were having some really good sales growth when we were working together. How has the company grown since you've kind of really focused in on certain target markets and messages and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've focused, like being more focused on nonprofits for us has been big. Like we'll go to a conference just for Planned Parenthood or something. We'll do these things so I think focusing our efforts has been huge in that and like really knowing who are people because, like we're blank canvas, anybody can use it. I want to serve everybody, so it's easy to kind of spread ourselves too thin.
Sure.
I don't know,
Sure.
does that answer? Did I miss part of the question?
No, no, I was just saying, has the company continued to grow or have you, obviously you talked about focus and all that, but have you seen the impact of that focus, with your sales and just even the team ideating and coming up with new ideas to really serve and focus in on that target market?
Yeah, yeah. So we have been growing,
Good.
and also, there are certain customers like that whole idea of people want to order everything from us because it's so easy. And we've done that for some customers in the past few years, but we now have selected a few customers that were like, we can be your one-stop shop, so it's not offered to everybody, but it's offered to the people who we feel like we can help them the most, if they don't have in-house teams and stuff like that. So that's gone really well, and we
Excellent.
have, being a manufacturer, we have a whole network of other manufacturers that we're friends with and we work with. So it's easy to kind of tap each other you know, and serve the customer the best we can.
Excellent. Excellent. Good. All right. So one of the questions I had for you too was, I admire the longevity of your business because, the vast majority of businesses never make it past 5 years. And the fact that you're coming up on 30 is absolutely amazing. So congratulations. But
You.
what's changed in terms of how you reach out to customers, how you go to market? Because I know a lot of your business is online, but not all of it. So what's changed in the past 30 years?
Last but yeah, well, I mean, it was all mail order when I started it. So it was all like getting a check in the mail with a piece of artwork and a note of where to send it to or whatever. So yeah, that's hugely different. And that was also like, being able to accept credit cards was a big moment for us. Like we grew quite a bit when we were able to start accepting payment by the internet, and having a website. Our first website was from 1998.
Oh, okay.
And so as far as spreading the word goes, like I think we did do ads or like print ads early on. Don't do a lot of advertising, honestly. Like we're
Okay.
doing some Google ads now, and word of mouth is always, and being really art focused too, especially, like sending out cute little things with our button orders is, helps people spread the word and just, I don't know, makes them feel happy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, and you guys, I know you do because I'm still on your mailing list, but yeah, you do a great job with these campaign email sequences and things like that. And I know back when I was working with you too, you were working on retargeting campaigns or people who hadn't bought from you in a number of years and trying to re-engage them. And I think that was pretty
Mhm.
successful for you too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very successful. It was good, post, a couple years after the pandemic to let people know, like, hey, we're still around. We're still here to spread messages. Yeah, so that was great. That was such a good, like, customer intimacy is what I call it, like just having that kind of like relationship with customers. So that was great for customer intimacy.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Thinking a little bit longer term now, where do you think additional work still needs to be done to strengthen your brand or to continue to grow?
Yeah, I think it's to strengthen the brand. I mean, I do want to do some kind of nuts and bolts because one of our things is making it easy for customers.
Mhm.
So the website needs some like streamlining. A lot of people don't notice it, which is great, but at the same time, we know that some things could be easier.
Right.
Um, and I would like to do just like a little bit of a refresh, like even if, I don't know if I'm quite ready for a full rebrand or anything like that, but something to just make sure that everything's feeling consistent.
Hmm.
Because over years you kind of keep Frankensteining a thing together. It'd be nice to like have a clean slate.
Yeah.
Uh, and for future growth, I would say we're still getting our feet in a lot of different things. So like we've tried like Zoom info and that kind of thing to get contacts. And, I really just want to be where people are already.
Okay.
And, whether it's going to more conferences, which I think is great because you get the human to human contact. So yeah, I think there's still a little bit more like measuring like what's been successful in the past so we can keep doing it in the future because when we set up HubSpot, it wasn't like 100% accurate. So we've been like kind of getting it going again. So,
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I was going to ask you too. I mean, I think, friendly is definitely something that's part of your brand characteristic, but I think there's some fun in there too. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the events that you go to and how you can offer fun to some event organizers. And then I want to ask you about the museum, how you started it, why
okay.
things like that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean the like doing things at events, like we can make buttons on the spot. So it's something that we offer
Yeah.
and we do it, it's offered, it's available to customers. And then it's also something we do for community engagement.
Hmm.
Sometimes we'll even have a party and people can make buttons at the dam. That's what
Oh,
we
okay.
call Busy Beaver's offices, the dam. So that is really fun. Like, you could be for adults, like we've done it at like a Showtime thing at South by Southwest, which was fun. It was like a protest theme and
Yeah.
you could talk whatever you're protesting. And then we did it recently at the DNC where delegates could come and make like customized buttons for
Nice.
themselves with
Hmm.
like I'm voting for Harris. Actually, I have one right here, but it's like I made one for my friend Monique for
Okay.
Harris. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's really fun. We love doing that. And it's again like the human to human kind of like exchanges, which are really fun. And then we also do the button-o-matic, which are these toy vending machines that we have buttons in.
Oh,
So every year we curate a new button-o-matic series. And this year it was with Pilot, it's been with Pilot Light. And they're an organization that teaches teachers how to teach nutrition,
oh,
basically,
okay.
a program for teachers. And their series was the kids drew them and it was their favorite foods. So it's like
Okay.
10 to 12 different designs of like these kids' favorite food. And they're around town. There's probably like 15 to 20 locations around town where we have the Button-O-Matics, like restaurants and record shops and shops in general.
Yeah. No, that's neat. That's an awesome way to build your brand, right? To number one, again, it gets across that whole idea of fun, but then you're out there in, like you said, 10 to 15 different locations where they're going to see the Busy Beaver Button Company logo and name and things like that. So,
Yeah, a lot of
yeah.
people don't know that we make buttons. They just know us from the Button-O-Matics, which is, it's a nice entry point.
Sure, sure. So then, no, that's great. I think that's so much fun. And I would think even like, breweries, festivals, even places like Lollapalooza or something where you have so many bands. How cool would it be if you had a station there and yeah, and people come up and like could write who their favorite band was that day or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's awesome.
There's a fun idea of like, there's like an ask me about. So when you're out and doing something at a conference or whatever, if there's something that you specialize in, people could just like write and they're like, oh, I need an SEO specialist or whatever the person.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love that. So tell me about, because this is really cool and I've seen it and it's awesome because it's such a snapshot of time or it shows you causes and ideas and movements within time. But tell me how you and Joel started the Button Museum.
Yeah, I mean, I had very casually collected buttons for a long time, but not in any kind of serious way. And when I first started Busy Beavers, before you could find machinery or anything on the internet, so I would go to the library and I found this book called Collectible Pinback Buttons, written by Ted Hake, who's the co-author of Button Power, kind of coming around full circle. But when I was looking for my machinery, I found this book and it just told the breadth of like uh, how buttons cover so much culturally and historically. So it was always kind of in my mind, like, oh, there's so much. There's like all these old silent film stars and
Yeah,
traveling to the moon. And so then I started, and around 2008, I was like, you know what? I want to make a mini museum just to kind of show because I feel like buttons feel like such a niche thing, but
yeah.
really they're very general in what they cover. So then it just kind of kept growing from there, the Button Museum, and we became a 501c3 nonprofit. And the collection now has like about 60,000 buttons. We have a librarian that works there, and the mission of it is to tell as much American history as possible through pinback buttons.
I love that.
Yeah, and we get a lot of visitors. And we're actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for our collection.
Well, here are some unique branding attributes, right? With that the Button Museum is. No, but what I loved about it, obviously, like I said, I enjoyed really just walking around and looking at everything. And like you said, you get this snapshot of both, history, politics, pop culture, things like that. It's just amazing to see the generations and what's changed and what hasn't changed. But I love it too from a branding standpoint. To me, the fact that you take the time to build this and to curate it, it just to me differentiates you because you have such a passion for this medium,
Yeah.
that again, other button companies don't have that. They don't have that same passion for the communication medium, and they certainly have not acted on it if they had in the same way that you have. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I definitely love the medium of a button, you know what I mean, as a thing. And yeah, I can't imagine anybody taking this much time to come up with a button museum and a book because it's definitely has to be a labor of love to do it.
right.
But there, I mean, it's cool. It's like endless inspiration too for designers. Like the Button Museum has like 100,000 visits a year. So there's like a lot of people on the website, buttonmuseum.org.
Okay.
But yeah, it's cool and it's fun. And there's a whole group of collectors. There's so many people I know now because I collect buttons and there's so many people. And a lot of people, we probably get at least 15 people come in the door every week, as well as like, online, and
Uh-huh.
get to work with a librarian who manages a group of interns every semester. So it's cool. It's cool. Like a lot of the information we put out on the Button Museum doesn't really exist otherwise on the internet, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it ties in nicely. And how did you come up with the Busy Beaver name to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I always liked companies that had like an animal, like mascot logo.
Uh-huh.
And my mom had this arithmetic book when she was a kid called Busy Beavers that I used to love looking at. So the beavers all worked together and they were just cute and figuring out equations and stuff like that. So I just thought it was funny, and that's why I did it.
And that's why you did it. Yeah. Well, I encourage everyone to go check out the website because they're going to love it. But taking a look at the beaver and all that. But this has been absolutely amazing. And I have one last question for you.
Okay.
I'm reaching out, or I'm asking all of my show guests to kind of give a shout out to a small business brand that you think does a great job, whether it's their messaging is awesome or you just had a great experience. I had someone the other day tell me how they just love their dry cleaners. And, like, really? The dry cleaner is the brand that you admire? And they're like, man, the experience is amazing. When I go in there, they know my name, they make it easy. So I just wanted to, and if you need a second to think about it, but is there another small business that you would give a big shout out to for doing a good job with their branding?
Gosh, I have a lot of friends that own their own businesses, and I just admire them so much. And we just get right now, there's a location or like a venue, art building, kind of a lot of things called Color Club
Okay.
up Irving and Elston, Irving Park. And they're doing such a great job. They have some storefronts. It's a lot of art studios. They have gallery space. They have a music venue and space and a bar. And they just started doing anyhow, they have so much, it's a very dynamic building, so much creativity happening, and they're doing it right. Like they're promoting, giving people space. It's really good. And they just started this thing called, oh shoot, what's it called? It's like puppets and ice cream. Or no, it's I have to look it up.
Yeah.
But it's basically you go, they have a window, you go
Uh,
to it, puppet serves you ice cream.
I
Um,
love that. That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
it is like it's called the sugar hole. So it's like
Oh,
puppet serving ice cream.
I like that. That's
Yeah,
very cute. Very
yeah,
cute. I got
yeah,
to go check that out. All right.
yeah.
Well, good. Well, Kristen, thank you so much for spending time with me today and sharing how you built the company and worked on strengthening your brand. So, if people want to learn more about the Busy Beaver Button Company or how buttons, stickers, and pins can help an organization strengthen their business, how can they find you?
Yeah, busybeaver.net.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
just
you
or
say
on
it?
Instagram too. You could get ideas.
Yeah, I do love how you share a lot of the buttons and the creative work that you do for your clients. Not only does it showcase your work, but it gives them a big shout out for their message. So I love that you do that on your Instagram. So, and then what was the URL for the museum again?
Buttonmuseum.org.
All right, perfect, perfect. Well, thank you very much for
Yeah,
joining me,
thank you,
Kristen.
Sue.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice talking to you as always. Right.
Thanks. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Turbo Branding Show. I hope you've been inspired to ignite your growth by leveraging your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could help me build the Turbo Branding brand myself. So please share this episode and be sure to like, subscribe, and maybe even leave a review. And if you or someone you know would be a great guest for the show, an aspiring founder or CEO, please let us know in the comments or connect with us via email. But thank you and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you.